Alright, Dopey Podcast jingle, take 2B. Dopey Podcast, Dopey Nation, we're all in. Dopey Nation, Dopey Podcast, Dopey Nation, stay strong. Dopey Podcast, stay strong, we're all in. We're so alive. Dopey Podcast, stay strong, we're all in. Alright, take 3.
This episode of Dopey is brought to you by our friends at Aloe Recovery, located in Malibu and in Silver Lake, and created by our good friend Bob Forrest and his friends Bob, Evan, and Jared. Aloe was created as a rehab to treat addicts with compassion and not control. And what does that mean? It means that if you go to treatment, you want to be treated nicely. You don't want to be just yelled at and talked to like you're a piece of shit, even though a lot of you probably are. Anyway, Aloe is the spot that has crazy amenities, including sound bath meditation, surfing, equine therapy, fucking sweat lodges, you name it, they have it. They treat co-occurring mental health disorders, including SMI. They have years and years and years of treatment experience and can really, really provide a comfortable and safe detox, which to me is like the most important thing. Anyway, if you're fucked and you don't know where else to go and you're willing to go to Southern California to get treatment, I strongly recommend Aloe. This episode of Dopey is also brought to you by our friends at CASL, which stands for Clean and Sober Love, which is, of course, the dating app for sober people who choose to be sober. It was created by one addict helping another addict to date safely. So here's the reality. You got clean, you got sober, you got a new life, and now you're ready to date. So where are you supposed to look? Coffee meets bagel? CASL is the solution. Dating and recovery is real and worth considering if your shit is together. CASL is a platform where you can meet like-minded people all over the world and have sex with them and enjoy them and become friends with them and date them. Maybe you'll meet your wife or your husband. Install the app now on the App Store or Google Play Store. Oh, and by the way, it's completely fucking free. And finally, this episode is brought to you by listeners like you in the Dopey Nation through the power of the Dopey Patreon account. It's www.patreon.com/dopeypodcast. Throw a few bucks, help out the show. If the show helped you, maybe you could help us. Anyway, or not, I don't care. Don't give money if you don't want to. Also, very important, we have incredible Dopey socks available. Incredible Dopey beanies available. They're all over Instagram and Facebook. If you want or you want stickers, just Venmo me at Dopey Podcast and I will send them to you. If you want t-shirts, hoodies, hats, not hats. If you want t-shirts, hoodies, long sleeves, tank tops, go to www.dopeypodcast.com. But that's all I have for ads right now. So stay tuned. Here's the show. Hello, and welcome to Dopey, the podcast about drugs, addiction, and dumb shit. And I am Dave, and, it was just Christmas. Merry fucking Christmas. And I'm alone in the attic. So, just want to say, hey, I want to say thanks to everybody for listening to our show. Dopey has become Dopey was always a fucking amazing podcast. And it's always been an amazing community. But we're at a zenith, if you will, where community and podcast has melded into a beautiful thing. And everybody who is out there in the Dopey Nation, who participates or who doesn't, I just want to thank you for being a part of this little thing. This revolutionary idea that Chris and I kind of touched on with Dopey. And if you never heard the show before, I started it with my friend Chris. And Chris tragically overdosed and died like 2 Augusts ago. And Chris and I created the show as a fun sort of storytelling show where we tell fucked up drug stories and then we talk about our recovery a little bit. And Chris somehow overdosed and died. And I kept making the show, and I'm very happy that I did. I love the Dopey Nation. I love to hear from you guys, and I love to be a part of your recovery and be a part of your life just through the power of podcasting and entertaining you. So I think that's cool. And I always want to have fun on the show. I always want the show to be fun, but it's the New Year's episode smack in the middle, or I guess after all the holidays have ended. And if you survived it and you're using, congratulations, you didn't die. That's pretty great. If you're surviving and you're sober, congratulations to you, because all this shit is very, very hard to get through no matter what. I was a heroin addict, and one of the big purposes for me to make the show was just the absurdity of being a heroin addict in general, and the absurdity of withdrawal, and the absurdity of needing to score when you're sick and constantly needing to score. And I know that there's a ton of heroin addicts who listen to the show who still get high. And I just want to say, for me, it was impossible to get sober without going away. I really, really, really recommend going away if you're fucking in withdrawal or you're using and you want to get sober. There is no fucking way. I mean, I know it's happened. I know there's probably a lot of people in the Dopey Nation who got clean kicking at home and going to meetings. I know for me, and I don't talk about this enough, but for me, the key to me kicking heroin was leaving. It was going away. And then the key to withdrawal for me has always been television and a hot shower and being in the hot shower as long as possible. I want to say that, I hate to be all Pollyanna-ish, but my life in recovery is amazing. I went on our friend Jed's podcast last week, and I said something that I should say on this show, which is the adventure of my sobriety beats any fucking ramshackle dopey adventure I ever got to have. My adventure in being fucking present and being sober, and it's amazing. Like, and I don't mean it like, oh, I'm sober, so my life is good. I mean, I get to do whatever I want because I don't have to cop every day because my head is basically clear, and it's a gift, and it's the best thing that I ever did. So I just want to start the show with a little dose of sobriety. This show's going to be interesting. We do a couple call-ins today. We're going to hear from some old friends on the show, and the first one has been sober for a little while, and it's our good friend Amy Dresner. So here we go. Amy, welcome back to the show.
What's up, dude?
Amy's fucking sick. Amy sounds like...
So sick, man. I've been in bed since Tuesday. And he's like, you ready for the show? And I'm like, I'm really sick. You're like, okay, talk to you at 6, bitch. I'm like, oh, okay, bye. Pushy motherfucker. You're like, it'll be great. I'm like, will it? Okay.
I figured you were just like LA sick, not like New York sick.
Oh, fuck you. Such a New York thing to say, LA sick. No, man, I'm sick.
LA sick is like you can only drink tap water and you don't have Pellegrino.
Oh my God. I'm full sick. Yeah.
What's going on? What you got a cold? You sick?
Yeah, it's going around. Everyone's sick.
Do they have nice chicken soup in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I mean the best one was at what's that fucking deli that closed? They closed the
Langers,
the one with the
Cantor's.
No, Cantor's sucks. Cantor's Jewish.
Cantor's has good fries. Cantor's has good fries.
Okay, well their chicken soup sucks a dick. It's terrible.
Jerry's?
Greenblatt's is not bad. Jerry's is the best one, but they closed the one near me, and now there's only one in the valley. So,
have you ever been to Brent's?
No, I haven't been to Brent's.
How about Langers?
Langers, where's that?
Langers is near MacArthur Park.
I'm making fun of you. Oh, wait, I'm gonna go fucking cop dope too? No, I'm good.
I used to go cop dope around there and buy pills,
and then get chicken soup.
No, I would cop dope there. I never knew it existed, but when I was waiting tables, the owner from Langers sat at my table, and he was like, "Oh, I have a deli by MacArthur Park," and that's all I could think was, "Oh, I used to cop there," but I didn't say that. I'm a deli expert because so many fucking idiots from Los Angeles try to compare themselves to New York deli, and it's just like, what are they doing? I don't even know.
No, it's just not even. I mean, it's not possible. I don't even compare. But I just got something. Well, I was depressed, and then I think I was like, God, it'd be great if I was sick, because then no one would give me shit for being in bed and sleeping through the holidays and being depressed. And the universe is like, granted. So now I'm like, shit. So now I'm so sick, and no one can be on my ass about not going anywhere, because I'm just like fucking brutally ill.
So let's talk about this. You're depressed and you're sober. Like, do you want to talk about why you got down?
Well, I don't like the holidays, dude. The holidays are brutal for us, man. And I think they're brutal for a lot of people. I think there's a lot of pressure to fucking be happy. And it's like, either you don't have family, or you don't like your family, or, like you fucking can't drink or can't use. And it's like, I'm one of many people with a sobriety date in early January. You know what I mean? Like, as you know, it's like, it's the Bermuda Triangle, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, when a lot of people relapse, because it's just like pressure and a lot of parties and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I'm here, but my mom is, in assisted living in Albuquerque with dementia, and my dad is fighting cancer in Oregon. And so I'm here by myself with Colonel Puff Puff, I mean, I just went and visited my dad, which is fucking rad, but, and I'm Jewish, but was raised with Christmas, but everyone sends me like menorah cards. It's very confusing. The whole thing is confusing.
I hear you. I'm with a non-Jewish family, and I didn't get to do Christmas. They went out for Christmas dinner, and my 18-month-old got sick, right? So I stayed home, and it was like your thing. I hate going to Christmas. I don't like it. I don't like being with strangers. And I know these people, but they're still strangers. And they pray to Jesus before we eat.
Oh, God.
But so I was like...
That would creep me. That would really make me uncomfortable.
No, to be honest, it's just like an AA meeting. it's just like a meeting before you eat.
They don't pray to Jesus. They don't pray to Jesus.
At my meetings, they pray to Jesus. It's fucking... They pray to...
Are you serious?
They pray to Jesus at my meetings.
No way.
But so in the morning, I was like, listen, if Susan is too sick, I'm volunteering to stay home with her.
I love that her name is Susan. She sounds like a 45-year-old secretary. You know what I mean?
Everybody calls her Susie. I'm like, Susan, how are you doing? But I was like, if Susan is sick tonight, I'm saying it now, I'm going to stay home with her. So check this out. I had the most, literally, I've been Jewish my whole life. I've celebrated Christmas my whole life. This was the most Jewish Christmas I ever had. I had Chinese food, and I watched Curb Your Enthusiasm reruns. I swear to God.
Oh my God, so Jewy. Oh my God.
And I did it alone, and I fucking loved it. I loved it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, my dad said, they didn't want to do any of the Christmas shit, and there was one Chinese restaurant, and it was like an hour wait because all the Jews in Ashland. He was like, fuck that. So.
Well, I mean, I used to love using during the holidays. Like,
oh yeah, are you kidding? Fuck yeah.
Like I mean, my great Christmas tradition when I first got with my current partner, I always say my wife, but we never got married. So my partner was that we would go to this Christmas party, right? And I would always steal drugs from the old woman's medicine cabinet. Because she had like Percocets and Klonopins and Vicodins. And I remember the first time I went, I just took everything and I got totally, it was like the greatest Christmas I ever had. And I mean, like, that was something I loved about being an addict, which was stealing drugs and getting high and then falling out. I loved it until I couldn't do it anymore.
Well, Christmas is always a little weird for me since that was the night I got arrested. So I'm always like, I forgot about it for a while when I was with my ex-boyfriend. We would like spend time with his family, but then we broke up in 2017 and I've been kind of by myself since. So it's like, but like I always think about it, getting arrested at Christmas is like, oof. There was like no one else in the Hollywood jail, and it was Hollywood jail, and it was just like a bad fucking scene, man. Bad scene.
So now it echoes, the holidays echoes that arrest.
Christmas is like, it's like, oh, cool, I was arrested for felony domestic violence on fucking Christmas of 2011. Yay,
So when you're down, like, and I mean, I've known you for a little while. I think I've known you since you broke up with your boyfriend. I hope it's just a coincidence. But fucking, I know that sometimes you get down, and what do you do to keep yourself from like wallowing or from using or from being the most miserable?
Using's just not a fucking option. It's just not. I've had my ass handed to me so many times. I cannot. You know what I mean? And it's like, so, I mean, and I'm afraid after 7 years, I'll be 7 years clean on the 2nd. And it's like, fucking, who knows? Like, I could just die. You know what I mean? Like,
are you excited? Are you excited for the 2nd? Like, are you excited to get your 7 years?
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited. And it's like, I mean, I vape. I fucking keep falling off the wagon with nicotine. And I'm like, that's not great. And, now I'm like obsessing about this dude. Like I went on a date, like 2 days. I don't even know their dates. Like hung out with this guy twice. And now like, of course, like even after like 2.5 years of not being with anybody, like so fucking obsessed and like, I'm in love. And like, everyone's like, calm down, dude. You know what I mean? Like you've hung out with him for 5 hours total over 4 months. Like relax, And he hasn't been in a relationship in a really, really long time. And instead of being like, yay, red flag, like, bye, I'm like, challenge accepted, It's like, oh, God, I'm just the worst. So I'm kind of looking at that stuff now, like uncovering sort of like, ooh, maybe I have some codependency issues. And like, why am I picking emotionally unavailable people? That kind of stuff.
So where do you stand? Where do you stand with this dude now?
I don't know. I fucking flipped out on him and then I made amends and we're talking, but I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm going to tell you something funny about a Dopey fan and how we met. And it's very funny about Thanksgiving. But so I just, I think that the work continues, it's like there's no getting there with recovery. There's always more work and more work and more work. You know what I mean? And it's like, so I have projects going on and whatever, but I mean, I have depression and it's like, so I just kind of like, when it comes, I do my best to sort of work through it, but I also let it, give myself some fucking grace and that sounds so fucking queer, not queer like that word, but like lame, but like, I don't want to offend my fucking people.
Your gay fellows, your queers and your fellowship queers, those types.
It's like, I mean, I just, I do the best I can. If I get to a meeting, I get to a meeting. I tell my sponsor I'm feeling like shit. I tell my friends, but mostly I'll just like fucking sleep it off and it passes. You know what I mean? It's like nothing has brought it on. There's no big change in circumstances that all of a sudden it's just chemical, man. I get through, and I never do well this time of year. I've always 19, since I've been 19, this is the time of year I fucking eat it. I fucking relapse. I try and kill myself. I try and kill other people. I just don't do well. I don't do well. So I just kind of say, okay, it's going to pass. It's not a big deal, but, I guess that, I don't know, for me, I still cling to the hope that something outside is going to fix me, like a guy or a job or an accolade or, you know what I mean? Even though I know that it's internal work.
Totally. I mean, I will often think that something coming will be enough for me to die happy at that point.
Yeah. But it's like but that's not the case. I've gotten things that I thought were going to fucking be it and make me happy. And either the happiness was extremely fleeting or it was completely just didn't exist at all. And then you're like, what? And so it's like, that's what's frustrating is I've had the experiences of getting the things I wanted and not feeling happy. And so I know it's an internal job, but it's like, it's still, I don't want that. I don't want to do more work. I'm lazy. I don't want fucking more work, but I'm at a place where I'm getting in too much pain where I have to do more work.
Well, the fucked up thing, I went to, about a month ago, I actually went to my first Heroin Anonymous meeting, which was like a total trip. Like I was totally the old man at the meeting.
Interesting.
Everybody was like 21. And then there was this other dude who was probably like 38 or 39. And he said how like his wife was relapsing and, he's obviously still with her. And, but he has to live with a using drug addict. And he's talking about how like this too shall pass with bad shit. But then he also said how it's the same with good shit.
Of course.
And that's like the trick. And you just have to keep doing it. And everyone says it like it's a bad thing. But, I think the adventure and the potential of good shit happening trumps all the other stuff. That's why we do it.
Of course. It gives us hope. It continues. But I get way overly excited at the littlest thing and get into like fucking fantasy land about it. You know what I mean? And then like either it isn't what I thought or it falls apart and then I get super bummed out. And I'd love to be able to sort of just be like, just chill out a little bit. But that's just not my nature, man. That's just not my nature. My nature is like, you know, fucking, oh my God, it's happening, you know.
But let's say this dude was the one, you know what I'm saying? And you fell in love with him, you know, it will get boring. You know what I mean? Like it will not, it will, even if nothing will save anybody. There is nothing that's going to save you.
I know, but that's so upsetting. That's so depressing.
That's my message for this holiday season.
So I know it's the truth. It's the truth, you know, but it's just fucking, it's brutal.
I know.
It's brutal.
So tell us I want to hear the exciting Thanksgiving Dopey fan story.
Oh my God, this is so fucking funny. So I guess it was like a couple months ago and my back has started to hurt from writing and being fucking old. And I was coming out of a chiropractor, this cheap chiropractor place. And the guy was like, your problem is that you're too flexible. So it's not holding your back and you know, it's called laxity and you're too flexible. I'm like, no man has ever complained about that, sir. And he was like, okay, you know, and anyway, I walk out. That was supposed to be a joke. Didn't you get it? Like no one's complaining that I'm too flexible.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm thinking all sorts of stuff that I don't want to say. Continue.
Anyway, I guess it's not a good thing for your posture or your back or muscles and spine and alignment, whatever. So anyway, I walk out and this guy is there and he goes, are you Amy Dresner? And I was like, you know, and once you've been arrested, that's like never something you ever want to hear. You know what I mean? Like, it's like terrifying, you know? And I'm like, yes. And he's like, I recognized your voice from Dopey. And I was like, oh my God, I know. I was like, what the fuck? And he goes, did you write My Fair Junkie? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I fucking love that book. He's like, can I talk to you outside? And I was like, yeah, man. He's like, I'm not like a fan. Like, I don't give a fuck about anybody. But like, can I talk to you? Like, you're fucking rad. I'm like, yeah, dude, totally. So we go and we talk, we smoke a cigarette. He's totally actively using, you know, he's like doing opiates and fucking fentanyl and he's completely straight with me about it and whatever. And I'm not like, ew. I'm like, whatever, dude. Like he's making more money than me. He's totally functional. I couldn't tell at all that he was high. Right. And I was like, this is interesting. I was like, so like, I don't know. I thought about you and you beating yourself up that you know, couldn't tell that Chris was using. I never could tell this guy was loaded, ever. We went to the Improv, we've hung out, I took him to a meeting, literally never could tell. I said, God, you're not, I said, you're not high, huh? He goes, oh, I'm fucking so high. I was like, what? Like literally could not tell.
This isn't the guy that you're dating, right?
No. Oh, God, no. So,
sorry.
So anyway, he and I become friends and he's really cool. And I never push sobriety on him or anything like that. You know what I mean? And he shows up kind of like more, he's like he's super smart and we become really close buddies. And then Thanksgiving is like, I don't want to spend Thanksgiving alone. I'm like, me either. He goes, I'm going to come over and I'm going to bring this big spread from work. And I'm like, sweet, dude, do it. So he brings over like a turkey and like all this food, right? Huge box of shit. And we eat and whatever. And I'm like telling him about the guy that like I'm obsessing about, whatever. And I was like, should I send him like a fucking naked pic? I'm just fucking like, what do I have to lose at this point? And he was like, yeah, man, any red-blooded man's going to fucking dig that. And I'm like, well, which one? So we're going through like my old fucking Tinder naked pics now. Right. Okay. But he's like totally my friend. And he's like, that one is classy. Like your t-shirt's kind of up, but your tits are showing, but you have sweatpants. It's casual. It doesn't look too porny. Like that one's a good, like, I love how he fucking, I was like, okay. So I send it and I'm like, happy Thanksgiving. Right. And then there's nothing and I'm just freaking out. And I'm like, like I want to undo it. He goes, you can't undo it. I'm like, I got to undo it. How do I undo it? What do I say? Like wrong person. Like, he's like, you can't, just relax.
So what happened?
Chill out. Oh, the guy was like, yeah, come over. Fucking, of course it works, you know? Fucking, it always works. That's the problem with those. Is fucking, you take out that hardcore artillery and it works. And I was like, it's such old behavior. I suck. But anyway, so I was like so excited. I'm going to go over there and he's going to go cop, right? He's like, I got to drool anyway. I'm like, you got to go cop? He's like, yeah. We're totally honest with each other, right? And I'm like, okay, I need you to do me a favor. We're smoking a cigarette outside my apartment. I go, I need you to do me a favor. And he goes, what? And I go, I'm going to put my finger in my fucking coochie and you need to smell it and tell me if it smells.
This is really, this is quite a story. This is quite a yarn you're spinning here.
And he's like, Amy, I really, really, really don't want to do that. And I'm like, dude, like, you're my friend now. You're like my girlfriend. You got to do it. Like, I got to know from a man's perspective. Like, is shit like fucking legit? Like, I need you to do this for me. He's like, Amy, I really, really don't feel comfortable doing that. I'm like, I'm not going to push it in your face. You don't have to lick it. Just smell it and just tell me if it's legit. And he was like, oh. And so he did it. And he smelled it. He's like, it smells fine. It smells like nothing. I'm like, I love you. Thank you. I like jumped all over him. And then like I fucking took a shower and shaved my asshole, went over to this guy's house, and nothing happened.
Nothing happened after all that? The Dopey fan got more going on, smelling your vagina?
I mean, yeah, but I was like, I shaved my asshole for you, dude. And he was just like, oh, okay. Like, that's very nice. Like, I was just like, I mean, I'm so out of my mind with men. I'm like, they don't have it together in that area at all, obviously.
Wait, hold on. Is this the same guy? The same guy that we're dealing with now?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, and did you, after he was like, you didn't fuck him that night?
No, I haven't fucked him.
Oh, you've been building up to this thing. He was like, I don't understand a lot of stuff in this story. Was the Dopey fan straight or gay?
Straight.
And so you're like tantalizing him with naked pictures. You're making him smell your vagina.
He's much younger than me, and he's like, doesn't see me like that. Like, we were total buds.
All right.
I wasn't tantalizing him. I was asking him, like, you know, and I was like, do you think I should send you? I'm like, which one? And I said, can I show you? And he was like, yeah, show me. He was totally like chill.
He was there for you. He was broing out.
But, I mean, can you imagine that I'm like, please smell my fucking finger.
I love it.
Tell me. And he was like, I mean, I really, really don't want to do this. I'm like, please do this for me.
And then when the dude resisted, were you like, you don't understand, my pussy smells great. The dude checked it. None of that happened. You didn't say that. That didn't happen.
No, fuck no. No. But I was like, I shaved my asshole for you. I haven't shaved my asshole in 2.5 years. Like, oh.
Was this dude, is the dude that you're sort of like in sort of courting mode with, you know, asshole shaving and such, was this dude sober?
Yes, many years.
So he's trying to be responsible and respectful.
No, I think he's more like has his own issues and is shut down and has like been hurt a lot and has a lot on his plate and is like, and you know, so I don't know. I don't think I think that, I mean, I keep putting coins in the machine and I'm not getting that many. I'm not winning very often. So I may, you know, so then I just ended up flipping out. I flipped out on him and like sent this horrible text. And then I had to send an amends, and then we've texted a little bit. But now he's seen my crazy. I'm like, oops.
Well, that's the thing. Once you burn it down, you can walk away, or if he comes back, you actually have a chance of having a totally honest and open situation.
Well, that's the thing. He was like, yeah, he came back. He didn't push me away. I was like, what? I was like, I would have blocked my crazy ass. I would have been like, this bitch is batshit. I'm out, dude. But you know, my friends were like, you're fucking hot. I'm like, I'm not that fucking hot. I'm like, so I don't know what's going on. I've been sick, so I haven't been able to obsess about it. But
I think this is a great story. I mean, my favorite part of the story is the dude is a Dopey fan. I can't, and that you shaved your asshole.
Crazy.
Both parts.
That was so crazy that he was just like, I'm like, do I have to shave my asshole? He's like, yes. And I was like, oh my God, okay, fine. But anyway, he went home to get clean.
So he's getting clean now.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What's his name?
And I was just like, Harry. His name's Harry.
Harry, we wish you the best of luck. If you're still listening to the show, you know, we hope you do well.
Yeah, he was like, I mean, that just, like, for me, I don't know. I just want to just tell people, like, just even if you're fucking hardcore, like, if you're in AA, doesn't mean you can't fucking be cool to people that are using. Do you know what I mean? Like, there was someone else, a friend of mine, who relapsed, and, like, everyone in the room shunned him and was like, and I didn't. I continued to stay in contact with him and give him love. And that motherfucker got back and got 7 months. So it's like, it's important. I think it's really important that we remember where we came from and, you know, show fucking love and compassion. Some people aren't ready or they don't have the bottom or whatever. But it's like, I don't know. It was very eye-opening to me because I would have never thought I would hang out with someone who was like doing fentanyl and oxy and all that kind of stuff. But that motherfucker was making more money than me. He showed up more than most of my friends. He was a fucking good friend. He was fucking on time. He was like, he had his shit together, man. He was much more functional than I ever was.
Well,
that I am now at 7 years. Fuck, man.
Well, I think the most important thing that you're saying that I'm hearing is like, and I'm the same way. It's like, just because you and me are sober now, obviously there were many, many years that we weren't. And like, and just the fact that it ever happened for us where we, got it together and stopped using, it's like there's no reason that had to happen. It just did. So to turn your back on somebody who is you would be just the shittiest thing in the world.
Right. That's exactly. And I don't understand when people do that. It makes me so fucking sad. It's just like, he's like, I went home and I'm kicking, and I'm like, that's fucking awesome. He's like, my fucking bones are, my bones, that fentanyl. And I was just like, I was like, well, I'm fucking proud of you, man. And,
No, I love that.
He's like, and he was like, I was an asshole. I go, you were not a fucking asshole. I was an asshole. I was like, you were fucking totally chill, and we're all assholes when we're using. We can be. And I was like, you're fine, dude. Don't not beat yourself up. Fucking, just be gentle with yourself right now, man. I'm like, but it was so fucking weird that he was like, he recognized my voice from the podcast.
Can I tell you that's never happened to me? It happens to everybody. Like, it never fucking happened. It's never happened.
You jealous?
Yeah, I'm totally jealous. Although I have to say that last week I was at Katz's where I work, and and I'm never there anymore because I'm doing all this weird like corporate catering and stuff. And this woman showed up, and she was like, I listened to the show. Her name is Holly. She was a crazy, crazy Dopey fan, and it was awesome. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. No, it's super cool. I was like, what the fuck? It was so bizarre. I mean, literally, it was just really, really bizarre and very interesting twist of fate. But, we were talking about chasing things, and we were talking about how, so from what I understand, it's funny too, I'll tell you this. I was like, I complained to my sponsor. I'm like, he wants to get to know me before he has sex with me. I've never done that. And he goes, that's nothing to be proud of, sweetheart. But from what I understand in terms of addict brains and Dr. Wetzman, my man, who talks about dopamine and all that kind of shit, and then, the genetic mutations, it's like, if you have like normal dopamine, like then sex and love is like a normal reward. You know what I mean? Like looking at a sunset or getting closer to your lover or whatever. You might get a dopamine rush from like orgasm or whatever, but if for people who are addicted to sex and love, like my fucking self, sometimes it's the orgasm that's the reward, or it's the person that's the reward, or it's the tension before the act, the chase, the hunt, that's the reward. Sound familiar?
Well, there's so many spots. I mean, I think for me, like the orgasm obviously gets me high. I think for me, somebody like liking me would get me high.
Totally.
Like
of
that.
Course, because attention, fucking, yeah, absolutely it does. But that's why I'm like, I don't think this person likes me enough, and I don't know why I keep chasing, except for the fucking maybe the challenge or whatever. But it's like when we first hung out, it was such a fucking intense interaction and such a fucking like incredible date and dopamine rush and fucking like making out, and it was so fucking whatever that your brain goes, that's where the fucking nuts are hidden there, and it attaches all the details to that person. And so now I'm thinking, instead of it just being like, oh, that was an awesome connection and, we have some chemistry, my brain and my body are like, he's the answer. It's him.
Right, exactly.
Or it could be another guy. But it's like, your brain's not that smart. Your brain's like, it's that. It's heroin. It's this. It's
he has what I want. Like it's there.
Your brain,
there.
Your brain is like, your brain it registers all the details of that fucking rush and is like, that's where the gold is, bitch. Go there.
No,
you know what I mean?
That's super interesting, I think. I think that's really, it's just crazy the way that works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I sent you an email. I would like you to read it to the Dopey Nation, the thoughts from a chronic relapser. It's something that I could definitely relate to, and I bet you can too.
Of course. Let me pull up.
But don't say his name. We'll just call him Joseph.
Of course. Okay.
And I'll say this. Joseph had emailed me, this very cryptic email. I had gone to this rehab called Renaissance in Delray Beach, Florida, and it was a fucked up place. Although, everybody says it's more fucked up than I thought it was, but I had a hard time there. And they put me in the middle of the room and they pointed at me and told me I was the most toxic member of the community.
Yikes.
And I had a blanket that was all burned up. And they took my blanket away from me and they made me carry it around in a garbage bag for a week. But they didn't realize that I kind of liked the attention of it because it was just so stupid. You know what I mean?
Weird shaming stuff.
I had this fucked up guitar case and they put that in the center of the room. The whole thing was just insane. But there was a dude there named, I forgot his first name, but his last name was McNally. And every Sunday night he would do this thing called the McNally Rally where he would shame people in public. And it was fucked up. I mean, I think for me...
That's not cool, dude. That's not cool. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I don't think any of it is cool. I mean, I think it's cool if it's successful in getting somebody sober and they stay sober. I think that's great. For me, it was very uncomfortable. But this dude just wrote me he wrote me something about the McNally rally, and I wrote him back, and he sent me this email, and I thought it was interesting.
This all sounds very Sergeant Gunnery Hartman. You know what I mean? Like fucking Full Metal Jacket. Like fucking, you fucking worm,
It's not,
piece of shit,
But it wasn't like that.
No, I understand, but it's like almost like that weird shaming like in the army to break you down and stuff like that. It's like, I mean, yeah, we can be fucking egotistical assholes for sure, but I don't know that that's like the way to do it.
I've heard
places like that where they make you wear like a toilet seat around your neck or like wear a sign that says I da 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 da. And it's like, okay, I mean,
this was the place that they say they break you down and they build you back up again. But they break you down and they often forget to build you back up.
They just
So you just leave broken down. I mean, I was totally broken down when I left there. But I wrote a bunch of good songs while I was there, and I went swimming a lot, and it was an adventure. It was like I wasn't ready to get clean anyway. It cost my parents way too much money, and and I lost my cheap apartment in Manhattan. But besides that, Renaissance was a great adventure.
Was that finger story too much?
No, I love that story. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
I just hope he wasn't lying to you. I hope everything was legit down there.
I was like, is that too much for Dopey? I'm like, there is no too much for Dopey. Fuck it.
No, I think you brought us into a bold new direction, which I really appreciate.
Oh, God.
I do. I'm serious. I'm really serious.
It just was so insane that I would do this to this poor guy that I barely knew. And that he did it. I was just like, just do it. He's like, no, Amy, I really, really don't want. Just do it. Such an asshole,
dude.
Right,
I'm certain. Yeah, find the email, and I'm going to say this. I'm certain that people in the Dopey Nation have done worse. I've done kind of worse stuff. Like I've done bad sexual things in my day, and not that this is bad, but I know it.
I just wanted to make sure it didn't smell fucking funky, man. No one had been down there in a while, and it's like, I'm congested, and I just was like, dude, from a dude's perspective, does this smell fucking, fresh and legit? And
he was like, yo, your pussy smells legit to me. Is that what he said?
Yeah, he was just like, you're good. It smells like nothing. You're fine. And I was like, it was so, but to me, it was like the ultimate fucking offering of like true friendship that he would do that. You know what I mean? That he was just like, oh God, fine. I will do this for you.
And you never felt shame after having him smell your finger?
No. Why?
Well, then why did you feel any shame to share the story with the Dopey Nation?
I don't know, because it's a lot. I don't know.
I love it. Now let me hear the thoughts from a chronic relapser.
All right. For so long in my journey through recovery, I would adopt the beliefs and values of the people I admired and try to emulate those beliefs myself. This is a trend that I've noticed over my entire life, never finding my own way, but finding someone I admired and trying to be like that person. This is encouraged throughout the rooms of 12 Steps groups as they tell young newcomers to fake it till they make it and find someone who has what you want. These statements are fine in their own right, but as a young man to adopt beliefs without experience to back up those beliefs do not hold much value. I had the desire to be the best AA member I could be. And as I applied my ability to learn and retain information, my knowledge of the big book, recovery, spiritual principles, CBT, DBT, and meditation grew only in an informative sense and in no way in an internal way. I was the star of the rehab show. I learned all the right answers. I aced every open discussion meeting with relevant and in-depth shares on my spiritual growth.
Here, hold up for 1 sec. That shit reminds me so much of Chris. That's totally what Chris was like. But keep going.
Oof. The counselors loved me. The clients or patients looked up to me and came to me for guidance. I was the top dog of the short bus. Eventually, as most do, I fell and fell again and again. Every time I fell, I would end up returning to treatment, detox, the sober house, humbled, humiliated, and a shell of myself. After 2 weeks or so, like clockwork, my body would start feeling normal again. As the years passed, I would convince myself there was only one true way to recover, and that was through the 12 steps of AA. But eventually, after so many failed, half-hearted and fake-hearted and delusion-hearted and maybe a couple full-hearted attempts at recovering, explaining to people that you're back for the 42nd time seems insane in its own right. If I walked up to myself in an AA meeting after the 42nd relapse, I might urge them to do something different.
It's weird, right?
I have a couple thoughts. What are your thoughts?
Well, my first thought is I appreciate this dude being so honest. Like that was my first thought.
Absolutely.
Like I love his honesty, and like I think it's the opposite of how I always was, because like I was never like the top dog in the rehab. Like I was always like Same. I never did it like that. That's just not
Same.
my method. So I never like faked it. I just did it the way I wanted to do it, and I failed. You know what I mean? It was never like an illusion that I was succeeding. So I think, but what this guy is talking about is like the personality that does what they're told, but inside they're defying it. I wrote him again, and I asked him how he was doing, and he told me that that he hasn't used dope or coke or pills, but he's smoking weed. And it's just one of those things where like I'm not anybody's judge or jury at this point, especially with somebody who's been to a million treatments and relapsed a million times. Like whatever keeps anybody well, I'm like, I like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
So, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are the same as yours. First of all, I never gave a fuck about being the queen of AA. Do you know what I mean? Or a 12-step group. I didn't give a shit. I didn't care what people thought about me. I didn't care about coming back again. I didn't care that I looked crazy. I was crazy, and I didn't give a shit. And I didn't pretend to, agree with things I didn't agree with. If I didn't agree with something or wasn't having that experience or didn't believe it, I said I hadn't found that. You know what I mean? Like I was like, nope. I never gave a fuck about, memorizing the big book or any of that stuff. So I was very honest with where I was in my recovery. I didn't pretend to have it more together than I didn't care what people thought. So there's like some people pleasing going on. You know what I mean? Where he wants to look good. And it's like, they say you can't save your ass and your face at the same time. It's like you need to be honest with where you're at with the whole thing. I mean, in terms of what I understand, the fake it till you make it, it's about more like I've talked about before, which is taking the contrary action, not listening to your feelings, taking the contrary action. I don't want to go to this meeting. I don't want to do this commitment. I don't want to da-da-da. I don't want to blah, 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 and doing it anyway. And after you take a certain amount of contrary action over and over and over again, you rewire your fucking brain. You actually create a new neural pathway that becomes your default mechanism. And it was like, I didn't pick someone. I never had someone on a pedestal and I was like, I want to be like them. Like, I just was like, I acted like the person that I wanted to be. Who was the person that I wanted to be? Like I had, I told you I had a sponsor and anyone said, you don't have to be a good person. You just have to act like one. No one knows the fucking difference. And I was like, well, that's not truthful. That feels really shitty. But what he's talking about is that no one gives a shit about your intentions. They care about your actions.
Right.
That's what really matters. And then, eventually its action is character. Like people judge you based on what you do, not based on what you intended. So I think that, I don't think 12-step is the only way. I think that I don't know why he continues to think it's the only way. There are many other ways to get sober, and maybe he should try one of those other things. But I think that the big thing is to be honest with where you're at with it. I mean, also for some of us, they say that educational variety, like he's having the educational variety, a spiritual experience of the educational variety where you're learning about it, you're intellectualizing it. And a lot of people have to have, like, I had to have that experience of sweeping the streets where I had this huge shift, where I fucking had an epiphany. Like, I'm a dick, and, like, this could be the best thing that ever happened to me, and I need to change my whole fucking attitude about myself and life and the way that I treat people and my whole, you know what I mean? Like, I had that. I mean, a lot of people need that kind of, like, have to have that moment of fucking wait a second.
I was on and we
Facebook. Can't create that for someone,
I was on Facebook and I saw this woman's post, and normally I don't really care about anything that anybody says, but this woman said something like, I never heard this thing said, and it's I'm sure it's a big cliche, but she said, I was told to go to 12-step meetings until I liked it. Like she was like, she was like, when can I stop going? I hate this shit. And she was like, and the person said, well, I would go until you actually like it. Meaning, like, and that's the directive. Like, and I think this dude, the fake it till you, I mean, I think what we're really talking about here is like surrender. It's like this dude didn't surrender. He fucking, and I'm not judging this dude. I'm saying he tried to be the star and he tried to learn the lingo and he tried
to. But that's all. Yeah, but that's all looking good. That's all ego. That's not truthful recovery. That's just looking like you got it instead of really got it.
Right. What I mean is, like, when you actually are in a place where you're like, you give up and you're like, fuck it, you're not going to do that shit because you're just so desperate for help and you're so desperate for some sort of change, which is like how, I never wanted to look good. I just wanted to go to meetings and absorb it and, like, get better. You know what I mean? And not want to get high. That's what I wanted. I wanted to go to meetings and, like, from going to meetings, not want to get high. In the end, I managed to get sober because I was just so desperate to be done with this thing. Like, the thing had me by the balls and I just wanted to be done with it,
Yeah, same. I mean, and it's like I still don't always love it. You know what I mean? Like, I still fucking go to meetings and just, like, roll my eyes or fucking hate stuff or people say stuff and I'm like, ugh. You know what I mean? I don't fucking love it all the time. I don't like it a lot of the time. And it's just like, but I, but there are other programs if he wants to check them out. But I think the thing is to do this thing honestly and not to do it like it's not a competitive thing. You don't have to be better than anyone else. You don't have to get it sooner than anyone else. You don't have to fucking be a walking big book. None of that shit matters, man. What matters is fucking you getting freedom from your fucking addiction and finding some peace inside, however you fucking do it. You know what I mean?
Totally. You didn't hear about my big movement? The Dopey Nation and me, we're starting this movement called the alt recovery movement, which I had my dad trademark. And basically the alt recovery movement is just whatever you can do to not get high, do it, and that's like, I mean, it's like, it's whatever, there's just so many people, because now that I'm doing this show and there are all these people that listen and all these people that are struggling that don't want to go to meetings but want to get sober, it's like, all right, just do something, and for me, like, doing something would never have been enough, and I relapsed a million times, and I got sober because I did the 12 steps. That's how I got sober. But I think anybody should get sober however they want. And I like the idea of starting a movement. Don't you think that sounds like a cool thing to do?
I love that. I think it's fucking dope, man. And it's very inclusive, and I think what I'm starting to see too with, some stuff with the whole like gray area drinking thing, which is like always really bugged me. You know what I mean? Where it's like they're starting to see addiction more as like a spectrum, where like I'm all the way to the right. You know what I mean? Like fucking dick, nicotine, caffeine. Like, I think I posted like, I got a 7-shot latte the other day and I was like, don't fucking judge me. Like, I don't, I am so to the right. And it's like there are other people who can dabble in little things. And it's like more power to you, man. Like I have a friend and she can do coke and she can fucking do shrooms and she can smoke pot every day and she cannot drink. She fucking blacks out every time and is a total asshole. That's her biology. That's her situation. So it's like, who am I to judge? We don't know enough about addiction. So like whatever makes it work for you, You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
if he can smoke pot and it fucking works for him, right on, man.
I
You know
dabbled.
What I mean? Like, don't fucking die. Don't fucking die. Like, live a decent life and don't fucking die. Like, for me, it was such a bondage. Like, I couldn't leave my house. I was just in it so hard. It was horrible.
Yeah, I hear you. I tried to dabble, and I tried to dabble with every kind of iteration. And I just couldn't do it. Like, if I do anything, I do everything. You know, and I mean, even like with nicotine, like I don't fuck with.
No.
I don't.
I totally relapsed on nicotine.
I'm not judging you. I'm just saying the only reason I don't vape is because it gives me this terrible headache, and because I'm such a slob that the vape thing will open up in my pocket and my fingers won't smell like pussy. They'll smell like fucking vape juice.
Hey,
and I don't,
my finger didn't smell like pussy. Didn't smell like anything. It smelled squeaky clean.
No, pussy smells like something. It doesn't smell like nothing. It has to smell like something. I'm serious. But for me, like, I don't know. I say it all the time.
No, I'm getting these disposable ones because I'm lying to myself. They don't open up because I'm lying to myself that I'm not vaping, that I'm gonna stop.
So you're getting like what, the blue things,
ones.
The blue ones?
Yeah, I know. There's something called puff bars, and it's like that's the thing. And I'm instead of like getting a whole unit and getting the juice because I don't want to fucking admit to myself that I'm actually vaping again, which I am. You know, I'm getting these disposable ones and just like ripping through 3 a day, and they're like, even at the vape store, they've never seen anything like it. They're like, oh my god. I mean, I think you saw, like, I went into the vape store, like, Christmas Day or day before Christmas, and I was like, I want something that's like crack, but not crack. You feeling me? And they were like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? They were just like, oh, my God, girl. Like, they don't really get it. Like, they're all stoners that work there, and they don't really get, like, I want to get as high as I can on nicotine without having a seizure. Like, without getting a headache. Like,
I love that. But like for me, when I vaped and I would vape, I remember when me and Chris would do the show, Chris vaped. Chris wasn't a real smoker, but he would vape at like 0.5 intensity or something. And I would be like, fuck that. I would be like, get the 20 milligrams. And he would be like scientificing me. He'd be like, Dave, you don't understand. There is no difference between a 10 milligram vape and a 20 milligram vape, and you're only going to get a headache. And I was like, give me the strong stuff. And
I know. Well, yeah. Well, there's some vapes that I found that don't give me headaches finally, but I was like, before that, I would just be like, okay, I'll vape and take Advil. I mean, that's just addiction.
I love that. But I miss just smoking cigarettes, just having them burn and so hearing them burn.
Yeah, but you know what? When I was smoking a cigarette with a Dopey fan outside, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and this guy that I went to his house is had quit smoking, had been a gnarly smoker. So of course I was like, well, I smell like smoke. He goes, wash your hands, like brush your tongue,
stick your hand in your pussy.
Listerine. Yeah, right. Yeah, he's not gonna care. He's not gonna notice. I'm like, he'll smoke like a normal smoker. I smoke in 3 drags and it's out. I'm looking for the fucking nicotine. I'm not looking to smoke.
I like walk past butts on the street, and I haven't smoked a cigarette.
And you look longingly at them.
I consider smoking every butt I walk past, and I haven't smoked a cigarette in 2 years. And I could buy a pack of cigarettes. I just am tempted. I have massive fucking respect for you for not fucking falling off that wagon, because it is something that I'm really struggling with. If I did, I wouldn't. It would just be so hard to stop. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want.
Yeah, but that doesn't stop me.
So, listen. I think you're doing good.
You want me to read the other one or no?
Well, did you like the other one?
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was incredibly moving.
All right, then read the other one.
Okay. Hi, Dave. I'm 17 and I accidentally came across this podcast.
I like this one too. Okay, please going. Please going.
This is an unusual email because I'm not an addict, nor am I in recovery, but I'm the daughter of an addict. This podcast means so much to me because it has allowed me to understand the life of an addict and make so much sense of things I couldn't grasp before. Growing up, I had no idea why I would hear a loud noise upstairs and come to find my father passed out on the floor, or why he would be in and out of consciousness while driving my family and I. It never occurred to me that this caring, wonderful man could allow a horrible thing to take control of him and compromise his relationship with his family. Dopey has contributed so much to my making sense of the subject and coming to peace with it. Although I never thought negatively of him or anyone because they were an addict, the podcast has a way of including all of its listeners, and it's so unbelievably real and raw. There's truly nothing like it. It's touched me and continues to move me with every episode, and I really thank you for giving addicts, people in recovery, family members of addicts, a comfortable and safe community. Listening to your stories and your guest stories has allowed me to forgive myself of the guilt I felt because I thought I was causing his misery rather than the addiction. It's an amazing thing to have the ability to create such a well thought out, intriguing, and comforting show surrounding a scary and heartbreaking subject. I'm forever grateful for Dopey. Stay strong, Dopey Nation, and toodles for Chris.
Yeah, that is very moving, and you read it in a very moving way.
Thank you.
I'm moved all of a sudden. You know,
no, it's incredibly moving. Are you kidding me? It's amazing.
I'm like in denial about like the reach of the show, to be honest.
I think that's good. That keep you fucking humble. That's good.
Yeah, but I mean, listen to how great the show is. You heard what she said. We handle this subject matter in a way like nobody else can. And it's like, you know, what the fuck? Thank you.
Yeah, I get messages every fucking day about my book still, and people are just like, "Oh my God, fucking thank you." And I cry. It's been 2 years since my book's been out, and I cry with every message, and just I can't believe it. I'm like, what the fuck? And it's like, it doesn't even seem real, and it doesn't. I'm like, I don't even get it. But it's like, and there are other people who fucking think the book is fucking, you know, ignorant and fucking full of nastiness. And I'm like, fuck you.
Well, here's an interesting question. Do you respond, like, what moves the needle?
I respond to every...
But what moves the needle?
Every single person that messages me.
What I don't mean like literally responds. I mean like what moves the needle in your head more, a positive response or a negative response?
What do you think?
I'm asking you.
I don't read the reviews. My dad pulled up Goodreads to read me a good review when I was up with him. And by accident, I saw a little bit of a negative review where they said ignorant and full of nastiness. And I just wanted to fucking grab that person and fucking punch them in the neck. But that's why I don't read reviews. And my dad goes, who gives a shit? He said, if it's not controversial, it wouldn't be doing anything new. If everyone loved it, how fucking boring is that?
Right. I like everybody loving it, to be honest with you. It's like it's a much safer waters for me to swim in.
Me too. Oh, me too. So that's why I don't read any reviews. But, you know, and the people that reach out to me are the people that love it, not the people that hate it. So I don't go seeking out the bad news, you know?
Right. No, I appreciate that. And I think that the woman who wrote this email, like, She's 17 years old, man. 17 fucking years old. So the very young woman who wrote this email, I'm glad that she got some good stuff from Dopey, and I'm glad anybody that's not an addict that gets something good from Dopey, like I'm very, very happy. And like,
yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's, you know, you're letting people into the heads of addicts, and so they can understand it, you know, without the glorification, without the shame, any of that. And I think it's super fucking important without like all the fucking recovery bullshit. You know what I mean? We talk a little bit about recovery, but it's not a recovery podcast. You know what I mean? It's like just real talk.
Yeah.
I think it's super fucking important. You know, you and I are very much on the same trajectory. That's the kind of shit I talk about too. So it's like, I have mad respect for you, mad love. You know that.
Well, it's mutual, Amy. And let's talk about New Year's for a second. Like, what is New Year's to you 7 years or coming up on 7 years in sobriety?
I mean, I'm excited about 2020. I have some cool new projects coming. I mean, you know, the years fly by. It's weird. You know, 7 years. I'm like, oh my God, fucking holy shit. You know, I don't really make resolutions anymore because it's always the same shit. It's like, be cleaner, exercise more. You know what I mean? It's the same shit. It's like, write more, blah, blah, blah. But, no, I'm just going to continue to keep doing the work, you know, and, like I said, I'm excited about 2020. 2019 with my dad's cancer was fucking gnarly, man. It was a brutal fucking year. And I stayed clean, and, you know, God bless, my fucking dad's on his way to full remission, the doctors say.
Amazing. Which is just a great, great, great deal. I mean, it's like the other thing that's just, and I'm not saying this to put, you know, an evil thought in your head, but the craziest thing is that we're all going to die. You know what I mean? Like, that's the deal. Like, and
yeah, but the mortality of your parents, man, God, you want to be shaken up? Woo! You know, me being single and not having children, it really fucked me up. It really sort of fucking scared me. And I was like, you know, thank God for my friends, and thank God for fucking the recovery community, because I don't feel alone.
Yeah, I love that.
You know,
I know that when Chris and when Todd died, it fucked me up a million times more than when my mother died.
Interesting.
Which is like not a good sign for me as a human being. But it just like, I mean, I love my mother, but I was also very sick. You know, I was very in the addiction when she died.
Yeah.
And I like kind of like dipped my toe out of addiction when she died. But when Chris and Todd died, it was more of like, I don't know, it's us dying. It's me dying. And
Of
like,
course.
and my mother was
Our people,
dying.
man, it's you. That could have been you.
But it's like, I wonder if that says something terrible about me. My mother was dying, you know. I mean, we all will react the way we react, and I'm sorry to my father for hearing this, but I've said it before. My mother dying for me was some sort of like, I don't know, like I felt like I loved my mother, but I did feel kind of under a thumb with her, and I felt a certain amount of freedom that came with her dying.
Interesting.
Which I feel a little bit
my
guilty
dad's
about.
my fucking world. So like, you know, I mean, I mean, he's 82. Eventually he's going to fucking die. And I mean, you know, this trip he said to me, if you really want to honor me when I die, don't use and don't kill yourself, because I've spent half my life trying to keep you alive.
Well, there you go. That's an amazing
And
message
I was like, oh.
Do you think I'm a bad?
pressure.
Do you think I'm a bad person for having these feelings? Because now I feel like
I don't think no.
I feel
not
like you
at
feel when
all.
you had the junkie smell your fingers about my mother.
Not at all. I think a lot of people feel relief when a parent dies, if they felt, you know, sort of that person, like you said, they were under their thumb or whatever. But it's like there's, you know, to feel bad about feelings or thoughts
Is a waste of
crazy.
time. Well, the other
it's
thing,
absolutely,
and I want to say this, I want to say my
know.
redemption thing, which is that I wish my mother could see me now. And I wish my mother could have met my daughters. Like they would have, it would have been amazing. You know, I just needed a break.
The shitty part.
I wish she could like come back
part.
now and like be a part of it. I know she wouldn't want to come on Dopey, or maybe she would. She'd be hysterical on Dopey.
No, but if she could see like you clean and she could see your family and like that's fucking amazing. You know what I mean? It's like that's the wonderful part. But you know, it's like, yeah, I mean, I think that when people die when they're older, we expect that and it's part of normal life. But when people die in their fucking 30s or 20s,
right, we're
just like, what the it's a war that we've all been in. And we're like, not survivor's guilt, but maybe, you know, like why that could have been me. That should have been me.
Right.
Why am I alive?
Right.
And it's like, you know, why couldn't they get it? And like, why, like, it's fucking sad, man. It's fucking terrible.
Right. Totally.
You know, and families are ripped apart and, you know, someone's life is cut short very early. And it's just like, you know, it's fucking horrible and we don't have the answers. So I think it's just, it's much more, it's, you know, like you said, it's our people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So on that note, I want to thank you for coming on. I want to tell everybody out there to like, you know, if you want to get high, you get fucking high. But if you want to give this thing a shot, give it a shot. I mean, it's like I have so much more fun now than I ever did then, you know, personally.
Oh, God, my life is so much fucking better, even if I'm making strangers smell my pussy finger. And
I think that's a plus. That's not a minus. Are you kidding me?
Even if I haven't gotten laid in 2.5 years, my life is amazing. No, I'm much happier. And it's like, I mean, you know, and I'm alive. I don't think I would be alive. If you'd read the book, it's like I wouldn't be alive.
I did.
You know, it's like, so, I mean, and I get to help people and it's fucking amazing.
So this weekend in LA is something called the Western Area Conference of Young People.
Next weekend.
And I guess there are going to be some amazing speakers. If you guys are in LA, it's next weekend. And
June 2nd through the 5th, yeah.
It's January 2nd through the 5th, not June 2nd. January 2nd through the 5th. You should check it out if you're in LA. I wish I was there.
There's going to be some amazing speakers. It's going to be fun. 1,500 people. It should be pretty crazy.
All right, Amy. Happy New Year. Get the fuck better.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Get some good chicken soup.
Yes. Send me some.
Find a deli. You want me to send you chicken soup?
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
I'll do it. And thank you for calling in. I love having you on the show. I wish you were here in person. It'd be much better.
I know. Me too. Thanks for having me on and dragging me out of my sick bed. I feel better already.
That's awesome. All right, Amy.
All right. Stay strong, Dopey Nation. Love you.
So that's the great Amy Dresner on New Year's, getting sober, meetings, and of course, having strangers smell your vagina before you go over to attempt to have sex with somebody that you just met, which was definitely my favorite part of the story. All right. Well, moving right along, we have another old friend of the show who we haven't heard from in months. And some people call him Whitey Tighties or Tighty Whiteys. I guess Whitey Tighties. But it is our friend Jeremy. So let's get him on the line. So Jeremy, it's been. When's the last time you were on the show?
The last time was the night before I went to Aloe.
Right. So when last we heard from you, I didn't realize it, but you were high as shit. Everybody else told me. I should have felt it. I should have felt the meth in my stomach go off. That I sometimes, how like you talk to somebody who's high and you feel that high thing.
Yeah, totally. Look. When I listened to it, I was at Aloe and they finally gave me my phone back. And I listened to the episode and my heart dropped. I was like, God, I'm so high, dude. I was like, man, I hope, I just hope I didn't sound bad. So,
no, nobody thought you sounded bad, but everybody thought you sounded high as shit. But that's okay.
Oh.
I think anybody who listens to Dopey either has gotten high as shit, is high as shit, or is dealing with somebody high as shit. So it's not like you're like calling into some non-drug addict based show high as shit. So that's all right?
Yeah, no, it was fine. I guess you caught me at a sweet spot where I could make sense with words, because a lot of times when I'm high, I really can't even talk. So yeah, it was good. It was a good interview, I thought.
Totally. And you went to Aloe and you got some time together and you went back home, which I told you not to do. I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you not to go home. And
against their advice as well. So
what happened?
Okay, so I got out there and I won't go into what happened with the insurance and everything, but I got terminated from my job and I had legal issues back here. Okay. And Aloe was great to me, man. They even offered to let me stay another 60 days. But I had, the longer I prolonged these legal issues I had, the more I was just going to stress out about it. And my roommate, I let him borrow my truck and he blew the engine up. And so there was a lot of stress coming from that. And I just was ready to come back and make some money and get this resolved as far as my legal issues.
But how did that turn into a relapse?
Okay. So when I came back, I did very well. I was going to meetings and I decided to go back on a boat. And I don't know, man, like I was on a boat. My roommate came and got me off the boat. I'd been clean at home for a good 3 months. And on the way back from the boat, he had some dope and I was really frustrated. There was a lot of things going on. And I just, I hit the fuck it button and I said, screw it. And I just got high and it's like, okay, well, I'll just do it tonight. And then I decided, and I had like $2,000 in the bank and I just quit my job. And I was so disappointed, cause I just went to Aloe, which was a wonderful place. It was the best place I've ever been. I've never been treated so great. And I guess I was disappointed in myself and I felt like I let, the Dopey Nation down. I felt like I let my family down. Everybody had high hopes. And man, I just fell into a deep depression and just embraced it, I guess.
But before that, right? You're like almost 90 days clean. You're on the boat. Mm-hmm. You get off the boat. You're with a friend, and he's holding meth. Is that the deal?
Well, yeah. I mean, at that point, I was 5 months clean because I was at Aloe for 60 days, and I was at home for like a good 3 months.
So you're talking about almost half a year clean. The dude is holding meth, and you're like, fuck it. How did the fuck it? What I want to hear about, and I know this has happened. I mean, like with me, whenever I had clean time, right, and I decided to get high, I wasn't deciding just to get high. I mean, like that night, I was always deciding I'm done being clean. I'm not going to be clean.
Right.
I'm going to do this. Was that how it was for you?
Well, okay, I'll disclose this. To maintain the amount of physical labor that I do on my job, I was using Kratom.
Okay.
That's where it started.
Tell us about Kratom. I couldn't even pronounce it. Tell us all about it.
Kratom, some people call it kratom. You know, you take it, it's like it has all these alkaloids that bind to the opiate receptors. And a lot of people who are on opiates will take this, but it's like a cousin to the coffee plant. So it's got tons of caffeine in it, right? And the deal is the ceiling is real low as far as if you do too much of it, it'll make you sick. But if you take enough of it, it'll get you going. And it's also got some pain relieving qualities. And if you don't abuse it, which I'm not that type, I abuse everything. It actually will help with pain, and it'll get you through the day if you're a person that deals with pain. So I was abusing Kratom on the boat, you know, and by the time he picked me up, I was down to my last pills. Like I was actually, because you will detox. I mean, I detox. I'm not gonna say you. I'll say I detox off of Kratom, and I'm telling you, I've detoxed off of oxys and opiates, and it's worse. I believe it is. So
what, kicking Kratom is worse than kicking proper opiates?
Oh yes, it's like you get the sweats, your nose starts running, your back starts aching, your bones is like you can't get comfortable. And so by the time he picked me up, there was some frustrations with my job, and there was frustrations with the situation with my vehicle. I was living in a house where one of my roommates is using every day. He's using meth. The other roommate's dealing meth.
Right.
And when I got in the truck, man, I was at a weak point, and I just was, you know, like I said, fuck it.
Well, you're also using this Kratom, and Kratom is basically, I mean, what is the high like? I've heard different people talk about it, but what was it like for you?
It's a body high. Well, it depends on, you know, there's different strands. There's like, you know, you have like the red strain, which is more, to me, is like more of an opiate effect where it's a body high and you just kind of chill, you know, it's like a real chill mode. Then you got like the white strand, which is a little more of an energy kick. It has more pain relieving qualities. You got the green. The green for me gives me a little bit of euphoria. You learn the mixtures and you learn how it affects you. And then you take certain strains at certain times of the day to do whatever the desired effect is you want. I mean, it's really, you got to kind of do certain brands to kind of see how it affects you.
Does it shock you that it's not a controlled substance? Do you think it will be?
No, because here's the deal, man. If you take too much Kratom, if you sit down, stir it in your glass and shoot it, and you do too much, you will be puking immediately, and it's not a fun puke. It's not like one of those, and I feel great.
It's not a good time
like,
puke.
I feel terrible for the next fucking day. It's not good. So I don't think you can abuse it as far as like take it every day and kind of get physically dependent on it. But as far as like ODing on it, I don't really think that's possible.
So you were totally in relapse on Kratom. You know, I mean, if I took Kratom, it would be a total fucking relapse, without a doubt. When you picked up meth for the first time after the Kratom, did you know immediately that you were going to stay on it, or what was the thought?
No, because I had worked it out with my job. I was supposed to go the next day to a place on the river that was close to where I lived and kind of do some extra side work type stuff. I went the next day, and immediately I knew that the guys on the boat knew that I was high, and this new company's more of a strict company, and people talk, you know, and so I got real self-conscious about it the next day. And when I got home, I was just so tired, but I wasn't ready to go to sleep. And I think the next night it was like, well, I've got money. I was frustrated with the job. I was tired. It was like a bunch of stress hit me at once. And that's when I was just like, I'm not going back to this job because I know they're already talking shit. So fuck it. I might as well just goddamn enjoy it.
Right.
Excuse
and
my language.
How much? Well, I don't know where you mean goddamn part. Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. At what point do you think it became something that you knew wasn't going to go well? Or did you know it as soon as you did it?
Well, okay, so my roommate who blew up my engine, he had to replace the engine. And so he kind of felt like I needed to like sign over the truck to him. I mean, it was just this whole convoluted story. But anyways, so I kind of made a deal with him. You can use my truck to go to work and I'll just live here rent free. And I just, dude, I got, at that time I was using every day as much dope as I could find. And I just said, okay, well, I'm in relapse mode. I got off of all social media. I deleted all my accounts except for my Messenger account. And I just disappeared.
And did you find any freedom? I mean, like, what was it like? Like, was there any good part and where did it get bad?
Oh, man, it got bad immediately. You know, because I isolate. And then I know that everybody knows when I disappeared. They know what I'm doing.
Right.
And it's just kind of torture. And yeah, man. And then it just became this endless cycle. And then, of course, within a month and a half, I was out of money. And so I had to go back to like the basics. I mean, I wasn't stealing, but, you know, hustling. I mean, so yeah. And then I just got into this depression, Dave. Aloe was, dude, that place is a dream.
It's as good as the ads make it sound.
Oh, it's better.
Better than the ads? What should I add to the ad?
Man, you have to experience Aloe to know what I'm talking about. To go to a place, it's like landing in like, I don't know, you got a soft landing. You have people there that most of them they don't always disclose, but most of the guys there, the girls and guys there that are techs are recovering addicts. Okay. And when you get there, they let you rest. The beds are comfortable. I mean, they're big queen size beds, big, huge TVs. I mean, they don't hassle you the first week you're there to go to this and that. And then they just kind of encourage you. And then they just watch you. And then they steer you in the direction that they want you to go. And they let you get to it on your own pace. And it's like, after about a week or so, they give you your phones back. You can walk around the yard. You can intermingle with the women. Because every rehab I've been to, you even look at a woman wrong and like they're threatening to kick you out. And
are you saying that at Aloe they encourage you to have sex with the women at the rehab?
I never said that ever. And I don't even think there was any of that going on. I think it's just such a cool place that, like, you know, I don't know. There was nobody acting out like that when I was there.
I'm just playing. I know. I think Aloe sounds amazing. And like, and I think it means something. You know, you obviously didn't get paid by them to say anything. And that was a while ago. And that's the first thing out of your mouth was how great an experience it was. So I love that.
Dude, yeah, it was back in March. I mean, and look, when I left, it was definitely against their medical advice. They wanted me to stay. They did everything they could to get me to stay. I was there 60 days and they did everything they could. I mean, and, you know, at the time, I just felt like I wasn't progressing. I was so stressed out. I really couldn't, you know, California is a different beast than Louisiana. You know, I was having to fill out resumes to get dishwasher jobs. And that was weird to me, you know, like I'm 40 years old with all this experience. And it's like, wow. I mean, I really having to go through that and say, oh, this is where I'm at in life.
Well, your pride fucked with you, you know, and I think, your pride is one of those things that like, it tends to fuck with you. And the worst thing about that is that if you let it, you know, it's like that whole stupid saying that it's better to save your ass than your face. And, you know, it just is. And I think, you know, at what point in the using this run were you like, this needs to change. Something needs to change.
Okay. Well, with me, Dave, I'm not going to treatment until I know I'm 100. Like I have to be, and there's a sweet spot for me, and that sweet spot only lasts a few days. You know what I mean? It just.
What
like
do you
last
mean?
week.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so I mean, I wasn't ready. I was in it, and I just felt like, and this is where I've gotten in a lot of my relapses. It's like rehab's never gonna work. I'm never gonna get my shit together. So what's the fucking point? You know, why would I go and waste these people's times? You know, waste my time. I might as well just go back to what I know, and it's what is comfortable, even though it's not comfortable. And I just get real hopeless, man. And that's kind of where I was for a long time. You know, Dave, I would get clean a week, shake back, and I'd go get a little job somewhere. Like I got a job at a cookie factory. And
what kind of cookies were they making?
Oh, dude, all kind of cookies, like macadamia nuts. I don't know, any cookies you can imagine. I mean, it was.
Did you eat cookies there, or was it a not eating cookie factory?
Well, they had some in the break room, but I was in the packaging area, so I was like stacking boxes, which is pretty freaking, you know, it's stressful. I mean, like as far as physically stressful. And I've been using for like 2 months. I hadn't done anything but use and sit in my room. So I wasn't, you know, when I went back to work, I wasn't really in shape anymore. And but the night before I started, somebody gave me some dope. And then I showed up high and everybody knew it. And they saw my track marks and that it was awkward. And I ended up quitting because of that. So it just became a series of do well for a week, get a little job, feel better about myself. I get a little money in my pocket, and then that's it. I'm off to the races again.
And do you have a moment in this last run that you could clearly see as a bottom?
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, because I just couldn't get out of bed, man. You know how depression is. Depression, when you're in a depression and you can't physically even get up to brush your teeth, you know, or take a shower or whatever it is that you do as far as self-care, when that goes out the window and you just can't even get out of bed to do any of that, man, it's just that's a bottom for me, you know.
And you knew that like you weren't getting out of bed, you had run out of money, there was no more dope, there was no more nothing. Right. And then what is your head telling you then?
It's just on survival mode, man. It's just, where do I get food today, or where do I get dope today? Whichever thing I can find first is what I'm getting.
And when do you think that, I mean, because now you told me just now that you have like 7 days clean, which is amazing. And when did you come to that decision that you weren't going to get high again?
Well, you know, last week I was in this situation with my truck, and my roommate was clearly taking advantage of me. And, he was leaving me at his house, locked in a room where the drug dealer's 5 feet away in the same house. And he's off with my truck. And I have nowhere, I have no way to get food. I have no way to even look for a job if I wanted it. And he don't give a shit, man. He's taking care of his needs, and he's using my truck, running it into the ground. And it's the only thing of value that I have left. And I said, you know what? I just woke up last week. I mean, it was the week before my birthday and Christmas. And I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of being high on Christmas. I'm tired of disappointing my family. And I'm tired of that, excuse my language, that fat ass getting in my truck every morning and leaving me here stranded. And that's the last time he does it. And when he came home that night, I packed my shit, I packed my truck, and I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know where I was getting food. And I left.
And that was you turning the page.
And that was me turning the page, big dog.
And so your birthday, you were coming off meth, it was your first day. And were you like, I'm going to give this a shot? Like, when did you realize that it wasn't going to be just 24 hours that you couldn't score? Like, at what point were you like, I'm just not going to do it? I'm not going to.
Because being high, for me, it's not fun anymore, Dave. It's like I'm torturing myself, man. I mean, I'm on my hands and knees looking for crumbs. I'm a fiend, you know, I'm obsessed. And it's like, what am I doing? I was so happy when I was sober. I was truly happy as a sober person. But you know what? When I got back out on the boats and I was away from the meetings and the people, I really lost touch on how to deal with a crisis or stress on a day-to-day level, and I let it build up. And you know what? I let people take advantage of me and didn't stick up for myself because my self-esteem was low. And so last week, I went to this lady's house, and she's my friend's mom. But when I got there, she was crazy high too. And I got to see, when I got there, I got to see how I looked. I got to watch her tweaking and making noise and being out in the yard looking all high. I said, oh, well, there goes me. There I am,
right.
You know? And so I was worried about the cops coming in, and I said, you know what, man, I'm just going to try to sleep this thing off for a week. And that's what I did, man. I just tried to sleep throughout the whole week. And I think you called me last week, the day before my birthday. And we were supposed to do, we were supposed to do this last week. And I hadn't slept. And you said, well, call me in the morning. And dude, I was up all night, and
yeah, I could feel the meth in that call. I felt the meth as I was. I mean, no matter how high you were, I was about to go on a family vacation, and I was like, I was so stressed out, but I felt that vibration, and I was like,
right.
But I wanted it.
Well,
I wanted
I'd
it
been
for
up
the
for
show
5
anyway.
days straight, man. And so I had this girl. She was trying to hook me up, but like when they scored, the cops were right outside their freaking house, so I couldn't get to the dope, which wasn't but a block away, but the cops were like between us. And so when you called, I was waiting to score. So I was up to like 4 o'clock that morning, and I was charging up my phone, getting ready for you to call that morning. And I finally fell asleep, dude, which is, if you're trying to come off meth, just getting to sleep is like, okay, once I go to sleep and try to sleep this thing off, I'm going to be all right. And I finally fell asleep, and I missed your call. And when I woke up, my phone was dead because I accidentally unplugged it while I was sleeping. And then I punched the wall and busted my hand up. And it was crazy, dude.
Well, but here we are. You know, you're 7 days in. It's about to be the end of the year. Do you have do you have any feelings about the end of the year, about New Year's? Does it mean anything to you? Like, where do you stand on it?
No, man. I'm so excited about 2020. I just feel so good about it. I can't remember the last time, even when I was in jail, that I was sober on Christmas. You know, me and my mom had issues with the legal stuff from last year, and I've spent Christmas with my mom yesterday, the other day, eating dinner, and I've gotten to talk to family members and friends, and like, I'm clear-headed, and they're like, man, what's going on? Jeremy's never been sober on Christmas. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to just see it and just experience it and not feeling bad about myself, dude. You don't
feel any sort of like, I could still get high a few more days before I go to treatment, or I could get away with it, or I have a couple bucks. Nothing like that.
Well, no, I was going to treatment Thursday, right? Remember that?
Yeah, of course.
Like, we were supposed to talk Thursday morning. I went to treatment, and come to find out, I have an attitude problem. So like,
well, I could have told you that. It's part attitude problem and part obsession with your truck. But continue.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, dude. Look, in Louisiana, we don't have transit. You don't have trains we can catch. If you're stuck out without a vehicle, you're walking, and dude, I mean, it's just no good. No bueno, you know?
Dude, you are obsessed with your fucking truck. I swear to God.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why, Dave.
All right.
I'll tell you why. Because I did an 87-day hitch on the river to pay for that truck. And it was a hard hitch, and I paid for it in cash, and I owned it, and it's in great shape, and it's a good truck. And you know what? It's yours. It gives me. It's
yours.
Mine.
It's yours.
It's my shit.
But you know what they say? You know what the greatest? Well, there's a lot of great cliches, But what they say is the thing that stands between you and the recovery is the thing that you're going to lose. You know,
Okay.
so it's like,
Right.
whatever, man. I get it. And when do you think you're going to go in? What's your plan?
I'm not going to treatment, man. Look, tonight I'm going through all my stuff. I'm getting a bag for work clothes. I'm getting a bag of like dress clothes. I'm loading my shit up. I got my sleeping bag, and I'm going down to Baton Rouge, and I'm either going to a homeless shelter or I'm going to live in my truck, and I'm going to go to work, and I'm going to go to meetings, and I'm not going to rehab. I'm not doing it.
What? I thought you were going to do 28 days and stay in the sober living. What happened to that?
Not doing it.
Why not?
Not doing it, man. I'm leaving Monroe, Louisiana, and North Louisiana in my rearview mirror. I'm going to start a new chapter down south, and that's what I'm doing.
You have people down there?
Oh man, my whole family lives down there, dude, in Baton Rouge. Look, I mean, I have years of recovery in the program down there. I have at least 30 friends who, between NA and AA, are still in the program and have time. I mean, I have history down there, and like people pulling for me, and I have a good support group. I have my sister, my grandparents, my aunts and uncles. I mean, it's like I'm going back to Baton Rouge, and I'm going back to work, man. I don't have time to.
You're getting on the boat?
I know it sounds. I might if I got to.
Ay. Listen, you got to be careful. You have to be careful because you got people pulling for you literally all over the world. And that still doesn't mean it doesn't mean shit though, Jeremy. There's only one person that matters if they're pulling for you or not, and it's you. You know?
Right.
You know, it's like you can fucking disappoint everybody every time, but it's a question about when you are like, I can't do it anymore. And
okay. Well, let me give you, and I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to like bullshit you into like believing this plan, but the difference between where I live now and the location of the Mississippi River, I'm 60 miles from the river, right? In Baton Rouge, I am on the river. So I can actually work in a fleet on the river and go home every day. I don't have to go out for months at a time, right? I can get like a normal, like 12-hour day, go to 2 weeks on, 1 week off, and I can go to work, and then I can go to a meeting, and I can go home and take a shower and live somewhat of a normal life. I don't have to go off for months at a time down there.
Dude, I'm not somebody who's going to tell you. I don't think that there is a way to do it. The only way to do it is doing it, and I only like want the best for you, you know,
yes,
and like I only want good stuff for you, and you know, and I only can wish you the best, you know, and obviously, you know, you have my number and you have a way to get a hold of me, and I know and I know how much the community cares about you, but when it comes down to it, the only person that matters for you getting better is you. So, you know what I mean? There's nothing, all you have to do is do the next right thing, do the little stuff, and I have no doubt you will be successful. But you just need to do that shit. That's it.
Yeah, man, I just need to do it.
Yeah.
I just need to do it.
Is there anything you want to say for New Year's to Dopey Land?
Oh, man, I want to wish everybody a happy New Year's and anybody struggling, you know, I mean, if you can't reach out, at least be receptive to the people that reach out to you, because if it wasn't for, and I'm going to name drop, Colleen MC, Catherine, Molly, Hot Wheels, I'm leaving people out, but there were so many people who contacted me and, you know, no matter what, just kept calling and didn't give up. And it's why I'm standing right now in my conviction and ready to get back into this, because, you know, they didn't give up on me and loved me when I couldn't love myself. And man, I've never met these people, but we have this bond through Dopey that, man, I never would have imagined I'd have. So yeah,
it's weird, right? It's weird.
So crazy. I love it, man. And I'm so grateful for it. I really am.
Well, I mean, the trick is that, like, and I can say this, and I'm just going to say it one time, that, like, if you were so much happier in fucking California and you were free and your brain was free and your soul was free, your pride fucked with you. You have to try to achieve that shit on the river in Baton Rouge. And just, you know, I only want to see you happy, joyous, and free. You know what I mean?
I know.
And honestly, if you want to get high, you get high. It's not about that. It's about you being comfortable with who you are and living the life that you want to live. And and like, we haven't met, and I consider you my friend, and and I care about what happens. And I love that the Dopey Nation cares also. And I think the point of the whole thing is we're all in the same boat. We just are at different ends of it or whatever. I've been in spots where like I wasn't ready, and then I got ready, and I was about your age when I did. So, I mean, I don't think that they're like, people will say, oh, you're pulling a geographic or this or that. I think no matter, I can't say that you're doing the right thing, but I can't say that you're doing the wrong thing either. I just want to wish you the best.
I appreciate it, man. I look, I feel really good about my decision, and I feel more free. You know, I've been working through a lot of issues. I mean, none I'm really going to disclose here, but there's a lot of things I've worked through in the last 2 months and really like discussed with my family. And it's just some things that I've consciously worked through that has also freed up some of my depression, and it's been a very positive response in my life. And so I'll tell you, Dave, life is looking up right now, and I'm gonna run with this energy. I really am.
Well, it sounds good to me. Fucking Happy New Year, Jeremy. I'm so glad to have you back on the thing, and and just be in touch, and you know, just be in touch.
Thanks, Dave, man. Thanks for being a good friend. And look, keep it up, dude. You're doing a great job. Thank you so much.
Yeah, the show's been pretty good. I mean, you've been out, but the show's still pretty good, right?
I'm catching up. Look, I've listened to, you know, I stopped listening. I'm so disappointed. But, dude, it's doing awesome. I like the guy who washes his clothes in the shower. You know, I've done the same thing. You know, in jail, you have to do that so people don't steal your shit. But, man, yeah, it's been. I even like the friend that wanted to do the podcast with you. You know,
Peter.
I like how y'all kind of clash, man. But I like the clash. It's kind of cool.
I like Peter, but I have a feeling that I personally believe that Dopey is going to be gigantic in 2020, and I think that I expect you to play a part in the great upheaval. And there will be Dopey Day coming up, where everybody in the Dopey Nation is going to put the Dopey logo over their eyes on social media for solidarity within addiction. Are you down for that?
Hell yeah.
All right.
Hell yeah, I'm down.
Now, before you go, you know, Chris's favorite part of the show was obviously hitting him with the Dopey. So why don't you just hit him with the Dopey before you go?
Okay, so I thought about this, and I think every story, most of the stories I've told were stories where I end up in jail. All right. So tonight I wanted to tell a story about, I have a couple where the cops came and I didn't go to jail. So I'm just debating which one I should tell. I should probably tell the one where I was smoking crack.
Don't give it away, Jeremy. Tell the story. Let's hear
it. Okay. I was smoking crack real heavy back in like 2007. And so, of course, when you're smoking crack, imagine this, you get real paranoid and you think people are like trying to break in your house. And so I kept calling my sister at work and saying, somebody's trying to break in, somebody's trying to break in. So anyways, I get so scared that somebody's trying to break in the apartment that I call the police on myself. Okay. Now, within like 30 seconds, because this is right by LSU campus. So like the LSU campus police, it's like 10 of them out in the corridor. And they're all like, because it was a cell phone, so they didn't know what apartment I was in. So I opened the door, okay, and all these cops like bombard me at the door. And they're like, what's going on? I said, oh, somebody was trying to break in my apartment. They said, where they at? I said, I don't know. I think they left. And one of the cops said, hey, man, do you have an air conditioner inside your place? And I said, yeah, I sure do. And he reached over and he like took his thumb across my forehead and wiped the sweat off. He said, why don't you turn it on?
Oh my God.
And look, they all just looked at each other like fucking crackheads, and they all just walked away and left. And I was like, oh man. And I had a ton of crack too. Boy,
and they knew, right?
They fucking knew. Hell yes. But they left me alone. They left. I was like, oh, man, this is a lucky day. So, yep.
Well,
there you go.
Thank you for hitting him with the Dopey. Happy New Year, Jeremy, and stay in touch, okay, man?
All right, buddy. Appreciate it. Toodles.
So that's two ends of the spectrum in Jeremy and Amy. And the point is that being a drug addict is a tough way to live. Getting sobriety is just about putting days together and then keeping that up and opening up that piece of yourself. And it's very, very, very easy to let that go. And if you let it go, it's so easy to not make the next best decision. So for me, New Year's is like, I love New Year's. I love that a year ends and another year begins. I mean, that's my favorite thing about New York. Besides the fact that I love Manhattan so much, I just love change and I love dynamic action. I love seasons and I love things beginning and ending, and I love the end of another year and the beginning of another one. And we all have so much potential to do so much cool stuff and to not do the dumb shit that we've always done. And then there's so many stupid things that we get to do that aren't that stupid, but stupid enough to be funny and give our lives color and meaning. So I'll say Happy New Year, Dopey Nation, and fucking toodles for Chris. And I miss Chris all the time, and I love Chris, and I wish that I obviously wish that he hadn't died and that he could be around for the show. And he's around for every episode because it's his show. So I'm going to end the show with the classic, with the classic Chili's. Me and Chris doing Chili's in a much more innocent time. And we'll say that you can be innocent in recovery and you can be innocent using, but innocence fades in time. And like, hold on to your innocence as long as you can. And have a fucking happy new year and stay strong, Dopey Nation. And fucking toodles for Chris.
I love that old commercial.
Which one?
I want my baby back.
Oh, yeah.
Baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby
Do the
back,
Brenda.
baby back, baby back. Chili's baby back ribs.
I'm surprised they don't still run that because that was so fucking huge.
I'm going to do the I want my baby back and you do the Chili's part.
No, I'm not.
Well, you do the I want my baby back part and I can do the Chili's part?
All right.
Okay.
I want my baby
You're
back.
going to do it lower.
I want my baby
Lower
back.
voice, not lower close to the computer.
I want...
like this. I want my baby.
I can't. I'm a tenor or an alto.
Do it.
Or a soprano.
So then I should do the bottom part and you should do the top part.
I'm actually not the top either. I just hang out in the mid-range.
Dude.
Mid-frequencies.
Speak as low as you can.
I want my baby.
No, not quiet. That's just too low.
I want my baby back. I can't even
Put some bass in your voice.
Baby back, baby back, baby. I can't do it, man.
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby. You can do that?
Chili.
Oh, you can do that? Okay, there you go. I want my... there you go. Excuse me. All right. Back, baby, back, baby, back, baby, back, baby, back, baby.
Chili.
No, it's not where it comes from. You do the baby back part. Do it.
All right. I want my baby back.
Just do it. Stop laughing.
I literally, it's going to be impossible
Just
for me
do
not
it.
to laugh, okay?
Just do it.
All right, I got to do this. My dog is dead. All right, are you ready?
Yeah. Did you ever have a dog?
Yeah,
Did
honey.
it die?
It was a Portuguese. Oh, dude, this is a story I gotta tell. All right, it was a Portuguese.
Okay.
No. Trust me, I gotta tell this story. It's a good one. It was a Portuguese.
No. Just do the Chili's thing, please.
All right, but we gotta get back to my dog.
Okay,
all right?
tell your dogs.
All right. Then we'll get back to the Chili's. And when
The dog name was Chili's?
no, his name was Hoodie.
All right, so do it.
I want my baby back, 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 baby back,
You do
baby.
it. Stop it. You go, I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby. You have to say back to I want my.
All right.
I'll tap you when you
All
say
right.
it.
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back. Come on, dude.
Do you know the top part? Do you know the top part?
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back.
Just do it, man, please.
I can't fucking finish it. I'm just keep picturing there's hundreds of people listening to this.
They're not listening. There's nobody listening.
I feel like this would be like a good sleep podcast. We could just do an hour of
I just want to do the part. Just please.
All right. Last time. This is the last time. This is the last time I'm going to try. Okay.
No.
I'm going to get it. I don't think I can do the top part. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back, 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 baby back.
Barbecue sauce. It's not yet.
That was good. That was good enough. That was the best we're getting. We're done.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I want to take a walk around the world. I wonder would it do me any good? Until I get some money in my pocket, then I guess I'll just have to walk around my neighborhood. But I want to be good so bad. Want to be so good, so bad, so bad. I want to be good so bad. Bad desire's all I ever had. And I want to take a ride up in the sky. Watch as aeroplanes just pass me by. And I want to see a Lear jetliner take a dive, just to show all of these people what it means to be alive. But I want to be good so bad. Want to be so good, so bad, so bad. I want to be good so bad. Bad desire's all I ever had. And my shadow's getting smaller and smaller, and it's time to where I stand. Shadow's getting smaller and smaller, and it's time to where I stand. And I wonder would they pay it any mind when I leave this busted city far behind. I'll take the high road, however far it winds, because peace and love are very, very, very hard to find. And I want to be good so bad. Want to be good so bad, so bad. I want to be good so bad. Bad desire's all I ever had. Damn it, all these suckers make me mad. And it's all I ever had. And it's all I ever had. And these suckers make me mad, and I want to call my dad, and it's all I ever had, and it's all I ever had, and it's all I ever had. And it's all I ever had. And these suckers make me mad, and it's all I ever had, and I want to call my dad, and it's all I ever had, and it's all I ever had. And it's all I